Okay, so I'd like to welcome Alex Kirby from Trifecta Lawn Care to the podcast. Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Well, great, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Hey, that's awesome. Thank you very much for reaching out and volunteering. Very brave of you. I've had a couple of people now reaching out and volunteering, which is fantastic. Usually I'm chasing people around, so that's awesome. Um, so, uh, yeah, that's awesome. So let's just get right into it. Tell us a bit about yourself and your business.
All right. Well, I am 26 years old. I started Trifecta 25 months ago, so about 2 years ago from right now. I actually was doing ministry work. I actually have a Bible degree from college,
Oh,
and
nice.
you know, yeah, my wife came up to me one day and we were having a conversation and said, "Man, we got to make some more money." And I live in South Carolina where people cut grass 9 months out of the year. So
Okay.
some guy from the church said, "Hey, you want to cut my grass, young man?" I said, "Sure. What's that pay?" He's like, $40, and I couldn't believe how much money that was at the time. So who knew that you could get $40? And so,
Okay.
long story short, I did that for, I guess I did it 6 months on Fridays, just cutting grass for people at the church. And then 2 years ago, I quit the church, and my wife and I decided, hey, let's try to do this for a couple of years and see if we can really make some money, so we can have some flexibility and financial freedom and debt freedom and all the things that come with that. And it's been way better than I thought it would be. So that's kind of
Yeah.
how I started this.
Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. A lot of people, I would say, in some cases, kind of look down on the lawn care guy or the gardener and stuff. And in a lot of those cases, those guys are doing a lot better than you would ever imagine. And are in some of those cases, I knew this one guy. It just brings up a funny story. In When I started out in a franchise, a lawn care franchise, and one of the other franchisees was doing quite well, and he talked about shoveling driveways in the wintertime, to just just keep working, keep himself busy. The problem was that his lawn care truck was only two-wheel drive, and it wouldn't go anywhere. So he was using his SUV because it was all-wheel drive. The thing is, the SUV was a Mercedes, a brand new Mercedes, right? So he was parking around the corner because he didn't want his customers to see that he was driving a Mercedes. That's his, yeah, he says that might not be good for business. So I'm just going to, oh, that's funny.
People
Yeah.
associate stuff like that.
So I think you answered this obviously, but I'll just ask it anyways. It sounds like lawn care is your main income, or is it your side hustle?
It's definitely my main income. So I quit my job and went right into this from day one. So I had about
Awesome.
3,000. We had about $3,000 to our name, and I just was like, you know what, go for it. So we've been full time the whole time.
Awesome. So and again, this question may have been answered already. So what first attracted you to the lawn care industry and made you decide that you want to start your business? Was it a thought before that person asked you to mow their lawn? Was it ever an inclination in your mind to think about that, or was it just straight on, like the light bulb went off at that moment?
Yeah, I'd say the light bulb kind of went off. Like, I had 4 acres growing up, and my dad did all the lawn maintenance. So I played baseball growing up. So that was
Oh,
all
okay.
work. So my dad was always doing the yard work. So no, I didn't think about it all till that guy hit me up. And then I kind of love marketing and branding and all that stuff. So I quickly realized, wait a second, no one knows who to ask in my area. I live
Mm,
in the suburb. I live in the suburbs of Columbia,
okay.
and it's a pretty wealthy area. We live on a lake. There's a big lake here
Oh,
in South
nice.
Carolina. Yeah, it surrounds our city. So there's a lot of people that have some money, and both. But quickly realized, no one, that you kept hearing, no one knows who to ask. Who cuts my grass? Who should I get? Who is trustworthy? And so when I kind of realized that, doing the Only Fridays thing, I said, wait a second, maybe there's a real opportunity here but the market is telling me something that I might not be telling myself, and that's that they don't know who to call. So let me formulate myself into the person that they feel they can trust and tell people about. So
Okay,
that's
awesome. So it sounds like you, like you said, you are always into the marketing and that sort of
yeah,
side of it. That is very familiar with me too. I love that stuff. I nerd out on brands and marketing and stuff like that. I've told the story a bunch of times on my podcast about how when I left the franchise and went out on my own, I modeled my whole business concept of uniforms and trailers and everything off of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. They're obviously a worldwide company now, but they
yeah.
started here in Vancouver. What was that? Sorry?
Listen to the NPR podcast, How I Built This.
Okay, yeah.
They were on that. I listened to that podcast.
Yeah, so here being originally a local company that they started here in Vancouver with one pickup truck and when he was younger, so it was very inspirational to me to see that he's in multiple countries and all that sort of stuff. I just love that, like the branding, the clean trucks, the uniforms, that professional image, and I've told stories about how that for me paid off, as far as meeting a new customer. And I'm doing a quote for them, and then within a few minutes they're handing me their credit card. And I even had one customer halfway through handing her credit card to me stop and go, wait a minute, this is crazy. I've known you for less than 5 minutes and I'm giving you my credit card. She says, but I can tell by your trailer and your uniform and stuff that you're not like a fly by night, that you're here to stay and you're respectable and stuff like that. So I was like, yes, like it works.
Perception is reality. Like,
Yeah.
I could with that. And our inspiration is, you know what Terminex is? I think is Terminex a national brand?
Yeah, we have them here too. The white trucks, I think, with orange letters.
Here they're green and gray
Okay.
and white.
Okay.
The commercial version of like pest control.
Okay. Yep.
And that was kind of what I modeled myself after. I said, I want to be the lawn care version of Terminex.
Okay.
When people think of pest control, they automatically think of 3 or 4 companies to call. But then I asked people around here, and they're like, I can't name one lawn care company.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was kind of my advertising vision.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's it's always a good to have that vision, to have that when you, like you mentioned there, people asking. One of my strategies when I did my business was naming my company after the specific area that we live in, because I knew people going on Google would search for lawn care in that area. And then my company being named that, with lawn care attached to it, would obviously be a natural Google search that would pop up, or a natural search term that people would be typing in. So do you have any employees, or are you a one-man operation?
So my first year was 2 years ago. It was me and 2 people from the pretty beginning. So I think January, February, March, I did it by myself. And then we had 2 guys the rest of the year. I was able to grow pretty quickly. And then last year, we doubled again.
Okay.
So it was me and 6 guys.
Wow.
And then this year, I'm in the process of hiring another 5. So wow. I still have those 6 guys. So we should be at about 12 total employees this year.
Nice. Very, very cool. So how do you, so maybe tell us a bit about that growth, for your lawn care business. What you said that you were thinking about modeling your business after not Trifecta, that's you, after Terminex. So was that part of that thought process of having employees so quickly early on?
Well, for me, I just want to grow my business. And first off, I wanted to be debt free. So I didn't learn about, I'm sure Dave Ramsey and people like, until about 5 months into business. And I'd already gotten a brand new Tundra because my accountant said to get the write-off, which is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Finance the mowers because they're 0%, which they're actually not 0%.
Yeah.
And so I myself into like 50 grand worth of debt, even though I had about 60 accounts. So my first year was just paying all that off. So we paid it all off. I paid it off this summer. including another truck that I had gotten. So yeah, that was a big deal. But for scaling, I think it's supply and demand, right? Like
Hmm.
in our area, I just rebranded actually, but we started getting our name out there through Facebook, through door hangers is a huge one for me.
Okay.
Um, I watched Terminex and I watched another company, Orkin, pass out door hangers every time they went into a neighborhood. And
Yeah.
I really, if you don't knock on their door, it's not solicitation.
Hmm.
It's at least in our area.
Okay. Yep.
So I started doing door hangers, and that's direct to their residence, and I could figure out how to put the amount. If you're in a cookie cutter neighborhood, like we have a ton of suburbs here, and
Yeah.
builders, 200 home neighborhoods with the
Yeah.
houses
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
like right beside each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
The
guess what?
shoebox homes, I call them.
Exactly. I don't have to do an estimate there because all the
Hmm.
houses are these.
Yeah.
So we put $50 for basic lawn care and put them on every door in the neighborhood because
Yeah.
it's not a no brainer. So
Yeah.
that was something we did to scale quickly, and then something I talk about on my YouTube channel about the power of ask. I just believe in the power of ask.
Mm.
So once I realized that no one knows who to ask, I'm going to ask for them.
Mm.
So I started going to businesses and just asking and people I'd know and anyone in my phone who might be in my circle of contacts and stuff like that. And then I got a big idea. I said, wait a second, maybe these builders that we just talked about don't have someone doing the lawn maintenance.
Mm.
I don't know why I thought that. I didn't see anybody in the neighborhood, so I just
Yeah. Yeah.
assumed. And I actually landed two of the biggest four builders in our region, so the
Nice.
Southeast. Now we do all their stuff. But all of that to say, that's how we scaled so fast is just asking. That's all. I
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't do anything. No billboards, no mailers, just door hangers and cold calls pretty much
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I can
Yeah.
totally relate to that. I heard, um, I think it was, watching, I love watching like motivational videos and things like that. And I came across one a couple years ago with Jim Carrey. And
Right.
he was talking about, I think with him, he was talking about that power of ask and, asking the universe, asking, just asking for stuff, asking for what you want. So I started practicing that just everybody because I was the shyest person, and I would just start asking people or reaching out to things for the podcast and reaching out to companies and things like that, and just hey, just ask. Like, what's it gonna hurt? And I
Yeah,
started getting. What's that? Sorry.
they're already saying no if you don't ask.
Yes, exactly. So it was, and then I started, being reminded of a quote from. I'm Canadian, so I got to bring in a hockey reference. So Wayne Gretzky saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and it was like, well, why not just ask? Ask for more business. Ask your customers for this. Reach out to companies and ask them if you can demo this or demo that or whatever it is. And I started getting yeses, and I was like, it works. Like, just ask, right? Like, don't be in your head afraid of things. If you want something, go for it. Find the people to talk to and ask. So that's
Yeah,
cool to see that you
you're
yeah,
stopping yourself if you don't ask. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you grow something if you're not watering it daily. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Awesome. So what are your how many employees do you see your company growing to? Like you're mentioning that Terminex, do you truly see sort of like a nationwide type thing eventually, or is it just in your state?
It's a good question. I'm trying to position myself for any avenue. So
Okay.
I just spent 5 figures on rebranding so that
Yeah.
we would look like a company that you would think is a national company, even if we're local.
Yeah.
I tried to pick a name that wasn't, it's nothing wrong with the guys that name it their name, but
Yep.
it's not easy to brand, and that's not easy to get people to understand. And then, or if it's a name like just your city,
Yep.
you're limiting. People assume like we have a town here, Lexington, which is 30 minutes from Blythewood is our two big areas. Well, if you say Lexington Lawn Care, then Blythewood people are going to assume you don't go out there.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do anything like that. So yeah, I'm not sure how big we could get. Not sure, with ministry. Like I said, I did that for 2 years and the Bible stuff, and really feel called to that. So I'm trying to figure out if I can do both. So right
Hmm.
now, I actually don't even mow grass anymore. I do all the business stuff. I just own
Okay.
the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got off the mowers in October, September.
Okay.
Now I'm training all the guys. I'm trying to build the business. I meet with my accountant. I meet with our big, corporate account clients, make sure they're happy and stuff.
Cool.
Do all the make sure everything's good. So insurance, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
but yeah, so we'll see how big it can get. I mean, we'll just see. I'm not sure if I'll cap it at this or keep going, but
Yeah.
whatever works out.
Cool. So, yeah, a couple of points there. As I mentioned, with mine, I named it after my city or town that I work in because I wanted to only focus on the town because but it's funny because I get the opposite problem. I have people calling outside of the town wanting work, and I'm always like, what part of the name do you not do you not understand, right? Why are you calling me? Like, I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. This is where we work and this is what we do. So it's kind of funny. And then the whole branding thing that you were saying there, trying to make it as recognizable and as professional. I had that same outlook when I started, like I was mentioning there, and I've had a couple of instances where people have reaffirmed that to me. Twice, where two complete strangers have come up to me and asked me if I had franchises for sale. And I was like, wow, like if that's not the power of branding and the look of my trailers and uniforms and stuff. And then another person, we went to go do a quote at this big, they call them here auto malls. Basically, it's just a huge area with a whole bunch of car dealerships all in one spot, all different, makes and models. And we went to go see the property manager, and my brother-in-law also runs a lawn care company, and he runs it under the same name and branding as my company, but we operate separately. Like we're separate franchises, but we operate under the same name, so that it gives you've got two trailers out there, you've got people see multiple things, just to make it look bigger than what it was when we were starting out. And so we pulled into this parking lot with both trucks and trailers and stuff. And, we went to the general manager's head office. And the first thing he said was, wow, I really like your shirts. And he says, I saw you guys rolling in. You look like something I would see on Dragon's Den, which is the Canadian version of Shark Tank. So I was like, awesome, right? I was like, there it is, right? All that work, all that thought of branding and, trying to build up is just all being reaffirmed to me every time I get little comments like that. So yeah, it's cool to hear your journey on that same sort of, we're like-minded on that. So this next question, I love asking entrepreneurs because I always get a different answer when I ask. But if you ask a non-entrepreneur, the answer is always the same. And that is, how would you define success?
I've been thinking about this because I listen to your podcast.
Okay.
A lot of guys have different answers, but I think number one has to be freedom in a lot of forms. So
Yeah.
financial freedom, I think, is crucial. If you in this business, a lot of guys don't talk about this, but if you break your arm, you're in really bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
So having no debt on your business and nothing coming out, if there's nothing coming in, at least you can hold on a lot easier for a while.
Yeah.
So financial freedom, then obviously, life freedom. So if you want to go on vacation with your family, you can schedule that pretty easily without having to ask a boss and stuff like that. But then also for me, it's developing young guys too. So that's success. So like it's his turf. I messaged him after your podcast. And I have 10 guys, 20 to 20, 8 of my guys, 10 to 20, 20 to 25 years old, who we're trying to get them a skill, get them a decent wage, get them discipled, because most of my guys are Christians.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to learn about their faith and grow in their faith and stuff, so that they can be great in 2 to 3 years at whatever they really want to do. If
Mm-hmm.
it's lawn care, if they decide they want to have a career in lawn care, then we offer that. I have a guy who wants to be a police officer,
Mm-hmm.
so he's trying to get his associate's degree so he can go to the academy. So he give him a job for 2 years and let him take night classes. So
Yeah.
for us, it's success, and obviously personally for me and my family, like we're 100% debt free. My wife just was able to quit her job. We're expecting our first child in 8 weeks, so that's pretty awesome for me. That was a huge goal when I started this, as I told you earlier.
Yeah.
For the other guys from my company, they're not in a better position through working for us, and spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and development professionally. I don't think we succeeded. So.
Okay. Awesome. That's a great outlook to have on it, and a great goal to have to try to build up your employees more than just treating them as a number, as the grunt work and stuff, and really investing in them to see them succeed. I've said it before on the podcast, and part of the reason I've done the podcast consistently, and there's always the down times, and you always think about quitting and stuff, but something always tells me to keep going. And it always goes back to that whole, you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime. And the legacy that you leave behind there is just fantastic. So it's great to see, this group of companies, especially here on the podcast, of people that I've been interviewing, all with that sort of same, investing in their guys and treating them like family versus just employees.
Well, look at the other guys. They're having a hard time keeping people, and I can't keep good help.
Yeah.
And they never. It's because, no offense, but they're just treating them like someone to help them finish the day off.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of treating them with respect, dignity, paid time off, training,
Mm-hmm.
expecting greatness from day one. You're not going to have that in a guy who's never been told that, taught that, or shown that.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, yeah, it's just going that little bit of extra. I had somebody help me out. I'm a solo operator through and through, and love that, but I've occasionally have brought on a person, and this one guy I brought on was traveling quite far to get here, to just didn't live in the same city, right? So I was on top of his wage and all that. I was paying him, giving him extra for gas every day, just for him coming out to me, right? It was like, here, buddy, and he's like, really? Like, you're gonna pay my gas every day? And I was like, yeah, I'll give you the thing. I really appreciate you coming out and helping me, and and doing it. You're doing a great job and all that stuff, and that's the least I can do is thing, right? Because you're going home, you're probably burning from where he was driving from. He's probably burning $10 or so in gas, which is like an hour of his labor or whatever it was. And it's like, dude, like that's at the time, it's like, that's crazy to think that you're going to travel all the way here and then work and then use that to pay for the gas to get here and all that stuff. So just being respectful and knowing that people's time, I always say, and it kind of goes back to that, is that people's time here is limited, and people don't realize that. I always like to say, or I always like to think that everybody out there, everybody that I'm encounter with every day, all has a little what do they call it, the hourglass above their head, right? But they're all different sizes, and you just don't know how much sand that glass represents. And if you knew what it represented, would you do anything differently? Would that thing? So treat other people with respect too, because they're all have that same scenario, right? And their time is so valuable. It's so limited here on this planet, that if you're just going to use people and for your own gains and stuff, then it's not, I don't think it's the right thing to do. and you certainly wouldn't want somebody doing that to you with the limited time that you have. And I think that's it's kind of going off course there, but it's funny because I get so impatient now if I'm in line somewhere and I'm waiting for to return something at a store or something like that. And it's like I'm never getting these minutes back. I'm like waiting in line here. I'm never getting this time back. So yeah. So with your, in terms of equipment that you guys use on the mowing side, what sort of equipment do you use? Now, I mean this not so much as brand and stuff, but more as in size equipment, so we can get a sort of a feel of the types of properties that you maintain. You talked about like what I refer to as those shoebox homes, and I have a ton of those that are basically between when I talk shoebox, I'm referring to ones that I do that are 3,000 to 4,000 square feet for the whole property, including the house, the driveway, the garage. So the grass is like this little 10 by 15 patch, 10 by 15 foot patch in the front yard. So most of my stuff is with a 21-inch mower. What do you guys do in your business?
We use mostly 48-inch, 52, and we're moving towards, I bought 3 44-inch mowers.
Okay.
And we use everything Gravely right now.
Okay.
We went to the GIE. I went to the GIE, and they came out with that 44-inch. It's kind of a combo. It's like a hybrid. I think it's an HD or DHD or something like that, but I really don't know. But it's a perfect. It's in between commercial level and residential in terms of zero quality. So for us, cutting quarter acre to half acre houses over and over, we one crew tries to do about 30 a day with one of those mowers. So it's perfect size for that, like you said, tight quarters, tight turning, not heavy because the sod hasn't taken great on these new houses it's all new. So it handles really good. We've been really pleased with the Gravely, line of mowers and stuff. So, and obviously, we use Red Max, everything else.
Okay.
Our local dealer is a big Red Max seller, and they give us a great price for buying in bulk and stuff like that.
Awesome.
I've been pretty pleased with their stuff. I don't see a ton of guys. I know a lot of guys like the blowers. I don't know if you tried the Red Max blowers.
No, here on the West Coast, I haven't seen any dealer carry any Red Max. I've never actually seen a Red Max in person, but that EBZ 8500, like I know it by thing because it's all over, the internet and Instagram and stuff, right?
We've got 6 of them right now. We're about to get 5 more. Those things are like a tornado on your back.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So,
yeah, there's obviously something about them for everybody to be so popular.
We just get your standard push mowers. If we can't get in the gates and stuff like that on our residential stuff, we get Husqvarna push mowers that are self-propelled. So
yep.
Yeah, cool. So we're at 5. I have 6 mowers, and I have a 42 also so it can fit in some of the backyards.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Very, very cool. It's like I said, it all depends on areas you're servicing, and it's so different everywhere. It's kind of funny when I always show my 21-inch mower and stuff, right? And it's like, that's like 90 for 13 years. That's 90% of my business is that thing. And talk about profitable, right? My first 21-inch mower, Honda commercial HRC 216 that I got as part of my franchise, like equipment package. When I started out, I used that every day for 10 years. Like that thing paid itself off like 100 times over, right? It was like crazy. Like, and to have lawn care as my only form of income just shows like the amount of work that thing went through. And it just kept going and going and going and going. And finally, I replaced it with a newer model after 10 years because of the rain we get here. The deck was all rusted, but like actual holes through the deck. But the engine transmission, I still have it. It still runs. It's still, it's like bulletproof, those things. So it's crazy. And I love hearing the what people use. I always joke that see you guys with 60-inch mowers and 50-inch mowers and things like that. The biggest I've ever seen here, besides like the city doing like the parks and things like that, is like 44-inch, right? And I've seen like a 60 at like the dealer's demo day that they brought in, but I have no idea who would buy that unless it was like the city or something buying it for something like that. So it's cool listening to what people use. I'm always so interested in that. So
yeah, we try to buy what we need, not what we want. You know, so many
yeah.
guys, at least in our area, they buy the $15,000 Walker mowers, and you know, like not hating on anybody, because goodness, they're like the BMW of lawn care, right?
Yeah.
But they're for the guys. I have guys here that have 45 accounts that are buying $15,000 mowers. I'm like, I don't understand, because you can't get your return on investment like
Yeah.
with the. Did
Yeah,
you get crushed by a Walker?
that's me, man. That was my first one of my first mowers. Originally bought when I first started. I bought a Gravely zero turn, just a small, the 34-inch, the compact one that they had, but it was like the residential version. It wasn't the commercial version. But you know, I kept hearing everybody was telling me, you got to get a walker, you got to get a walker, you got to get a walker. They're the best. Got to get a walker. So I was like, okay, like there must be something to it, right? So I dumped 15 grand on a walker, and it sat on my trailer 90% of the time because most of my customers I do with a 21-inch mower. So I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. 90% of my income is being earned by this here in Canada. The Honda's like $1,200 for the commercial 21-inch mower. Or, you know, we've got a 30% exchange rate and stuff over the US. So it's quite a bit more expensive. But it was like still like 90% of my income is being earned by this little guy. And that cost me $1,200, and that thing cost me 15, and it's on the trailer for 90% of the time. Doesn't make sense. And when I do put it on somebody's lawn, because of our climate here with all the rain, the ground is always soft, and those walkers have the blower integrated underneath and stuff, but that also means there's no ground clearance underneath. So if it sinks a little bit soft ground, it gets stuck. And I just started finding that more and more often. It was always getting stuck. The ground was just a little bit soft. Boom, it would bottom out. And I was like, hey, I gotta get rid of this thing, right? So I sold it after 4 seasons. And to show how much I used it, when I sold it after 4 seasons, it had 250 hours on it. So it was like it was brand new. Like it had barely broken in. You know, it was just crazy. So yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that guy that made that mistake.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, and nothing. You know, I love the walker still to this day. It was a fantastic mower, but it's just not right for my business. Wasn't right for the clients that I have. Wasn't right for. And actually, we talked earlier about geography and where I'm from and stuff. And you mentioned that you had told you I'm from Vancouver, and you said you had been to Victoria. Well, ironically, I sold the walker to a guy in Victoria. And because Victoria is an island, it's a big rock. So they don't have the same issue with the sinking soft ground and stuff there, right? So he's had a great time with it. It's done great for his business with no issues sinking or anything like that. So it's kind of funny that I sold it to a guy there. So I think you answered this question with that Gravely that you're talking about, but what is your favorite tool and why?
Yeah, I love the Gravely. I mean, 48-inch one's the first one I bought, and we've had 2 years now and put 500 hours on it already, and it runs like a champ. And it was only $1,600-$6,800.
Okay.
That's crazy good investment, making
Yeah.
that. So the Gravely's. I'm trying to think what other piece of equipment we really like. Those Red Max blowers. I mean, the amount of time we've saved on leaf cleanups and stuff like that. My first season, when I had no equipment and was borrowing people's stuff for the first 3 months, that's been huge. And we just got all new enclosed trailers too. So
nice.
Yeah, we got Spartan trailers. I don't know if you know what those are, but they're
I've seen them.
Here.
Yep.
And we just got 4 of those, and that's like my new thing, because now we're going to be way more efficient with not having to worry about stuff getting wet and all that stuff. Pretty excited about that.
Yeah, very cool, and great branding opportunity. Big rolling billboards.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
They're pretty. If you look at our Instagram and stuff, they're pretty incredible.
Awesome. So I just want to actually jump back because when you said Instagram, it reminded me of it was either Instagram or your YouTube video that I watched, and you were talking about, and you mentioned this earlier. I forgot to touch on it. You were talking about door hangers and putting door hangers, and you mentioned in your video you said something. And then you said, yeah, that's right. You heard me right. Basically, sort of just about 50,000. You're like, we just ordered 50,000. Yeah, you heard me right. 50,000. Like, we're not, this is no mom and pop operation. We're going hard on this one. So tell me a bit about that.
What people don't like, this is another thing I want the guys listening to realize. It's only costing me like $2,000 to get 50,000 door hangers, front and back. Which, we did this last year for the first time. I think I got 2,500 last year. It was like a test to see if it would. I had 52 people call from those 2,500 hangers, and we ended up getting 20 regular lawn maintenance clients out of that, and another 15 did like one-time jobs and stuff, which was, I think I passed them out mid-February last year. Or into February, and we had like pine straw and mulch and all those kind of jobs. So I saw how the per callback rate was like 3%, and I said, well, wait a second, if I do this in our whole city, 3% on 50,000 is a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I made an agreement with the local graphic design company that did all our apparel and stuff, and they said that it doesn't cost very much since they're already running the printing to get an exuberant amount of door hangers. So for the next 3 weeks, starting next week, my guys are passing out door hangers for work. That's what they're doing for 3 weeks. So,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you think about it, people have to open their door when they go home.
Yeah.
They're gonna look right at it, and they're gonna see the price. Some neighborhoods will say like call for estimate. Most of them will be like, wow, I can afford this for lawn care. Because once again, that's another thing, is the market doesn't realize how affordable or what even it costs. So they don't even bother calling.
Yeah. Or they're scared to call and think that there's going to be high pressure sales if they do call, or they're going to get harassed after with constant callbacks and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good putting the price up front. It's an interesting idea. I've never put the price on mine, but interesting. And I've had really good success too. I've never done a 50,000 run, right? It's always been 1,000, 2,000 at a time, and I would put them out at the beginning of the season. I would put them out as I'm mowing around neighbors' houses or houses that I want to target, and I always had good success. I think I talked about on one of the podcasts, I talked about new guys starting out, and I suggested that as one of the things. And I said, for me, I was putting out, for every 100 that I would put out, I would get at least 1 or 2 calls from them. And I was like, that's really good, right? Like, that's awesome to put out, 100. You think about 100, that's nothing. I used to, as a kid, my very first job when I was like 11 years old, was a paper route. And I had 2 of them, and one of them was 120 houses and the other one was 170 houses. And so I think back now going like 100, that's nothing. I did that when I was 11, right? Going, after school for thing, right? You can cover 100 houses pretty quick. And to get 1 or 2 calls from that turn into lawn mowing customers for the entire year, that's, I think it's a great return on investment, but a lot of people, I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's a stigma about going door to door, or just embarrassment going door to door, or what it is. But
well, guess what? Nobody's home when you're passing them out because they're all at work.
Yeah.
We never got one call like, "Hey, don't do this. We don't like this." We never got a complaint so far.
Yeah, because they just
with 50,000, but
yeah. But they throw it in the trash or recycling if they're not interested. Like, big deal. So do you guys offer any other services that are not lawn care or landscaping related, like power washing or window cleaning, for example?
We don't. We've thought about the power washing, as I've heard a lot of guys, they talk about it. The problem is it's so hard on your body. the machine that you're going to get is nothing compared to the truck trailer that the guy who does it for a real living has. So we haven't. We probably we might next year because the pollen here is pretty bad.
Mm.
A lot of people like their houses power washed at least once a year.
Yeah.
So I've thought about it, but at this time we don't. We just, like I said, we do basic lawn maintenance and
Yeah.
lawn service.
Yeah, it can be pretty profitable as long as you're, using high quality machines, like good gallons per minute, like high gallons per minute and stuff, right? Because the water makes a big thing, and using the right tools. When I, first did them, I was just using a really good gas pressure washer, but using just the nozzle and handle that came with it, and doing somebody's driveway, and it would take me, I don't know, 2 hours or something to power wash a big driveway, like a 6-car driveway. And then I invested in one of those broom, like the big rotary type broom things, and I could do that same driveway for 20 minutes. With better results because it didn't leave the little streaks and stuff, right? And make the same, I was charging back at that time like $220 to do a driveway, sidewalk, a patio, and being able to knock it out really quick. And so it was, with the right tools, it can be, really profitable. A good way to add for downtime, or if you have like a summer dry season where you're not cutting as much. It's also a good way. But then the spring cleanups, people tend to like it in the spring to freshen everything up. But then that's also when there's sort of a conflict there, because it's also when all the green stuff starts. So in your business, what type of work do you guys prefer? Do you do commercial and residential, or just residential, or just commercial?
We call it corporate, commercial, and residential. We kind of split the three. So like I said to you, I got huge contract last year with a corporate account, which is like second biggest home builder in the Southeast. And I got that once again just by cold calling, because I didn't see anyone doing their grass. And like, ironically, we just fired this company, so we have an opening. And then I just landed another national one. I'm not sure if you've heard of DR Horton. Have you heard of them before?
No.
But I got them doing lawn maintenance for them, same thing. So we do a lot of that stuff. And then we love residential. So this year, I'm kind of heavy on the corporate side now. I went from having one residential crew and like one hybrid crew to having 2 crews of corporate and one residential. I think we were at like 60 residential last year, 65. And then we have when we mix in a few commercials like churches and do a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that's always good. I keep hearing about those Chick-fil-A's. I've never tried a Chick-fil-A. I've never even seen one, but I keep hearing about it.
It's the good stuff. We actually like worked out with like a gift card as part of our. But it's great advertising because it's like the biggest restaurant here. So sees our stuff. So it's pretty
awesome.
Cool, but we do a few commercial. I'm definitely trying to get up to 20 or so commercial, when I'm at like 6 right now. And residential though is key for us. So I'm trying to get it up to like 200 this year in residential. So we really want to be balanced, because obviously if you lose a corporate account, anything can happen. And we don't want to be overexposed. So definitely, we do both. For me, it's all about how much you're making an hour. I don't care if it's residential. I don't care if it's commercial. I don't care if it's corporate. If you're hitting your financial numbers that your business needs to make and turn per hour, I don't really think it matters all that much, personally.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't. In the end, the money's green from both sides, right? So it doesn't make a difference unless it's just something you don't like. For me personally, over the years, I've just grown to enjoy residential better. I like the interactions with customers. I like the little old ladies that come out and talk to you, and and all that stuff. And and just that whole trust factor there. Like customers on the residential side, they don't even ask me how much something's going to cost anymore. They just say, hey, can you trim those hedges for me? That's it. And put it on our credit card. That's it. They know I'm not going to rip them off or anything like that. There's that trust built. And I just really like that, right? It's just this,
I like that.
yeah. So this next question is probably the one that gives people, pause for thought. And it's share with us a time you struggled in your business and what you learned or did to overcome it.
I thought about this. I haven't really had a big struggling moment in terms of something bad happened. We've been pretty blessed with the growth, and luckily I asked a lot of advice from other lawn care companies early on how to price, how to do this. I worked with the best lawn care company here a couple of days so I could learn some tricks and stuff like that, and show me what to do. So fortunately, I was told to do that early on. It didn't have to take my lickings on that. You know what I mean? Um, the first couple months, I started the business, like I said, December, January 2 years ago. So there's not exactly grass to cut during that time.
Yeah.
So that was pretty a big struggle because I didn't know how to price leaves at all,
Okay.
and I lost money like 3 or 4 times in a row on leaf cleanups because I didn't know how to charge. Now we charge by the bag in some cases. That way
Okay.
we don't,
Yeah.
we don't. How are you supposed to price leaves? You don't know how long it's going to take at times.
Yeah.
So I've learned my lessons there, but yeah, I'd say that was a challenging time. And then also, just this is a different one, but sticking to your guns on the debt. Like I just put a lot, I won't say how much, but a lot of money into upgrading, rebranding, new equipment. We just we're building an office out right now on my property. And that has been a struggle in terms of not saying, you know what, it'd be a lot easier for cash flow if I could go and just put this on a credit card, or a lot easier to go and ask for terms of net 60 on these, this office, or rent to own instead of just paying cash. And I'm big on paying cash for everything. So that was a struggle the last couple months, just sticking to my guns, knowing that the grass is going to come back in March.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a deal. And knowing that keep your reserve, don't touch your reserve, but the money is going to come back to you. You don't go and take out debt. It doesn't answer your question like most people, but for me, it was a tension and a struggle because as I see the bank account that I just worked so hard on getting up for our business, go down, just sticking to what I know is right in terms of business. That was tough a little bit.
Yeah. It makes you very disciplined. Makes you very think about when you've personal experience too. Like when you worked, like you just said, you work so hard, you put in all the time, and you see your bank account grow, and then you have to start putting out money for things, and you see it going back down. You're very disciplined about what it is that you're putting out there, right? I've been pretty good for the last, it's got to be 20, 25 years. I've put every single purchase. Well, okay, I can't say every single purchase, but probably 90% of purchases on my credit card. But I've never carried a balance over the month. When that bill comes and it says it's due, I pay the entire thing in full every month. And because of it, I think my credit's pretty good. But I've just been very disciplined about it. I don't think of the credit card as you pay for it and then make monthly payments and things. No, you only, if I've got the money in my account, then yes, I'll purchase it and I'll put it on the credit card, and I only do so because I'm getting whatever rewards or things. So I see it as free, rewards, or here, some credit cards will, give you money back off of fuel purchases and things like that. So I'm like, well, come, Christmas time or something like that. It's like, well, I've got all this free money now that I can use for stuff, right? But you have to be very disciplined about it. And like I say, I've never once gone over in 25 years that monthly due date and put just the minimum or anything. It's always been paid in full. So it can work with credit cards and you can get those things, but if you're not used to it, it's very easy to go out of control if you're not disciplined about it.
And I don't want to get caught. Like for me, it's the risk factor. So I try to So for me, it's like, okay, well, we have this huge account. Well, if I'm banking on getting, 20,000, let's just say 20,000 bucks from them in March, and then, you get a phone call from the owner saying, oh, something happened. We got to wait to start lawn care season. Well, now
Yeah.
I just bought a mower on a credit card that I don't need for a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, exactly. I just don't think for me, it's not worth it. I definitely get that it's like a little bonus for guys who are good with it. Um, but for me, I just stick to the cash thing, so I know that at worst I can go sell the thing I bought and get my money back.
Yeah. Yeah. So this next question is what is your favorite thing about being self-employed?
Woo. Man, I love making your own hours, and I love waking up every day knowing I can make as much money as I want to make.
Hmm.
When you're working in a job, it's a set salary, or oh, work here 5 years and we'll give you a promotion and stuff like that. I love knowing that, oh, I could walk into a business today and land a contract that changes my life.
Hmm.
I love that. So
Yeah.
I love that aspect. I love, with my wife, we love to once a month or so, we like to travel a little bit, maybe go to the mountains and I can kind of say, okay, we can do that whenever we want to do it.
Yeah.
So for me, like I said earlier, the flexibility and the
Yeah.
freedom is so important. Like I don't think guys understand that enough. You didn't come in like there's a friend of mine who works 80 hours a week in lawn care all year,
Mm.
and yeah, he makes about 6 figures or so. But like, what's that worth? Like
Yeah.
did you did you go into business to work 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Did you go into business to make an awesome living for your family?
Hmm.
So a lot of guys that they take pride in, oh, we're so busy, we do these lawns and stuff, which is great. But you didn't get into lawn care. You shouldn't have gotten into lawn care. This is my opinion. To work yourself to death.
Yeah.
You should have freedom in it. So that's
Yeah.
what I love that about lawn cares.
Yeah.
You can work if you want to go out of town on a Thursday, Friday, like the GIE, right?
Yeah.
That's why the GIE is on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, well, get a helper and work your butt off Monday, Tuesday till dark, and make up for the days you're gonna miss. Like that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see that a lot too with guys around that just work, 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 and it's just crazy to me, right? Because when you look at it, yeah, they're making, they might be making more money than me and stuff, but it's not that much more money, and they're putting in so much hours, and at the end of the day, it's like, you'd never want to have your kids grow up and somebody ask them, so what was your dad like, and them answering, well, he was never around. We never, he always provided, always had, we never were short of anything, but I couldn't tell you what he was like or what, thing, right? And it's like, that's not really worth it to me, right? It's like there's a point where you can make enough money, and as long as everything's taken care of, maybe you're not, your kids don't have the latest PlayStation, game console every year or something like that, but everybody's happy, everybody's healthy, and everybody's together. I think that's can be really important to make sure you have that time for your family as well, and not just like you said, 7 days a week, crazy all the time, right? So in what ways do you market your business, and maybe share your number one marketing tip?
So we talk about door hangers. So we do that. We just for the first time we're getting stuff on our equipment. So we got our trailers fully wrapped. And then the other thing is I use Facebook pretty extensively. So
Okay.
I think was it Cody that was on your podcast last that talked about how he's trying to figure out how to do Facebook posts.
Yeah, there's been a few that we've touched on Facebook. Linear Lawn Care, Danny, last year. I think it was last year. He probably got into it the most of all the guests, talking about how he used Facebook community groups, like the free groups that you might have for your local community. And that's how he would advertise, is putting posts up in those and getting a good success.
Yeah, for sale or wanted groups are pretty good. That's what it's all about. But for me, I probably spend $50 to $100 every couple weeks on boosting a post on Facebook. So one, I try to get our Facebook page likes up big time, because
Okay.
the more people that like your page, the more people they might share it with. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we're up to 700 likes on Facebook.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's pretty good when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
try to get to it. But we land jobs off of Facebook every other week in the off season, and maybe
Okay.
every week. And then we land, like, during the growing season, it's pretty steady that I'm getting calls.
Mm.
Last year was our first year as I had like a few hundred people. So I'm expecting Facebook to be better, but their fee is so little. It's one lawn, right? When you think of $50 or whatever,
Yeah.
one lawn gets you potentially a long time customer for 2,000, 3,000 bucks a year that you make on
Mm.
that person.
Yeah.
It's a good investment if you can
Yeah.
post correctly. So
Yeah.
we do.
And their Facebook is really good about, like I've only scratched the surface in terms of researching Facebook ads and stuff, but their analytics and their the way you can target exactly, like if you want to target, nurses that are ages, 25 to 45, and that's all you want your ad to go to, and that live in your immediate area, that's who's going to get your ad. So you can pay for exactly the types of people. You can qualify those people to get the best form of success. It's not like blanket ads. You can, of course, blanket ads, but if you want to target down and make every, part of your investment, squeeze every last bit of it out and target what you think is your ideal customer, Facebook will allow you to do that.
That search engine optimization, yeah, it's totally key for your target customer, because you don't want to, you can move the scale to where it's 30-year-olds to 50-year-olds or 40-year-olds to 50-year-olds. So yeah, I love Facebook, and we're gonna probably blitz. Here in the States, they're doing this new thing with billboards where it's electronic. I don't know if you guys have that up there, but they're not like where you have to put your logo on and pay for them to like put it up there.
Yeah.
Electronic billboards here.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about, in the beginning of March, like blitzing that for 2 weeks around our city.
Oh, okay.
Because the fee is a lot less, because you don't have to pay for it to go up.
Yeah.
And the terms are a lot shorter because they can switch it out anytime.
Mm-hmm.
So we're considering doing some billboards just for brand recognition. We don't think we're going to get business necessarily off the billboard. The more people can, like I said, the Terminex thing I'm going for, the more people that see Trifecta, hopefully we get more Facebook hits and calls and stuff like that when they see our door hanger home. Oh, I saw that billboard on the way home, and now it's on my door. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's funny. It's funny listening to you, because it's like exactly my thought processes all the time with that whole branding and stuff, right? Just get it out there. I talk about when you're starting, even if you have like, no money to do stuff like that. Like when you're not, I used to, with my truck and trailer, I would go to like Home Depot in the spring, their garden center on the weekend when I'm starting out, I don't have work. I'll park my truck here, right at the garden center. And then, my wife pick me up in her car and we can go shopping and do groceries and things for a few hours. And then I'll come back and pick up the truck after, right? Because chances are there's all these people coming out of that garden center. They got stuff that they're thinking they can do. And then they might get home and they'll see that, website, they'll see the branding and stuff. And then, they might get home and go, this is a bit bigger job than I thought it was, right? And hey, wasn't there a garden truck and thing? Remember that? That company name and stuff like that. And because it's named after the city and stuff, it's very easy to remember and stuff. So, and even 1-800-GOT-JUNK does this a lot too. And a lot of other junk removal companies around here have followed suit. And that is parking their trucks instead of in a warehouse location where they might have their office or something. Their trucks are spread out around the city and parked in strategic places when they're not being used, where there's high traffic driving by, because they're rolling billboards, right? And I've talked about doing that with your trailer and stuff on the weekend. Park it, it's what good is it doing on your driveway when maybe down the street on the corner of a busy street, you could have it parked and have all this traffic volume going by your billboard and just building up that brand recognition, right?
Yeah, and then obviously the last thing is social media. So we do Instagram. We're trying to get that built up. I didn't really make a push on that to the last 4 or 5 months, maybe this all. Like October is when I started with YouTube. I just opened our YouTube channel and got a GoPro the other day to make some
Yep.
better videos. So just trying to do that, and we'll see how that goes. I'm excited about it, at least for the lawn care community, because at the end of the day, we're all in competition, sort of, but not really. We're kind of
Mhm.
like a fraternity
Yeah.
where we want everybody to grow. And, for me, just being how small I was just a year ago, and I want the guys who have always wondered, can I find good employees? Well, let's talk about how to find good employees. We don't just have
Mhm.
to act like we can't find them. Let's find them.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Yeah.
So on YouTube, I think that's great. The lawn care community on YouTube is pretty awesome for videos and sharing ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's totally awesome, and just adds another layer of SEO to your company and searching. I talked about too about, if you're getting out there and you've got, say, a website and you do something like Google Places, to also put your company out in every other business registry that you can online, because instead of somebody searching for say lawn care in your area, and your company comes up in maybe a group of 6 or 7 other companies. If somebody's searching for you, or they see your trailer and they put your name in, they want to check it out, and having your website come up, but then also having all your competitors' websites come up, by blanketing and doing as much as you can, having YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff, when they type in that name to thing, that's what's going to pop up, and you're going to dominate those search results of, yeah, the first one's your website, then there's a Google Places, then there's your YouTube channel videos, and there's all this stuff to do, and you're kind of phasing out the competition there, or the chances of competition sneaking up when people are looking for your company, or they see your trailer or something and they want to search it. So yeah, a lot of different ways that people can get started with no money. And then, of course, as they make money, they can go out and invest more, and get like 50,000 door hangers and and all that, and then hit it hard. So one of the most common questions that I get in my business is, what do I do in the winter? So is there a winter or off season in your business? And if so, what do you do in the winter?
Yeah, I wish we had snow like all the other YouTube guys, like and Brian's Lawn Maintenance and all those guys. We do not have snow, so we stay pretty busy with fall and winter cleanups down here in the South. You know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's are 3 really big deals. So we cut grass through October, depending on when it stops. But we have a growing season at least until October 1st, but usually about the second, third week of October. And then November, December, the leaves have already started falling, so we have leaf cleanups, and we do a lot of pine straw once the leaves are down. I'm sure you guys don't really have pine straw there.
No.
Yeah, down here we call it the golden money. I mean, golden
Okay.
brown money. People, I think we installed 20,000 bales of pine straw last year.
Wow.
So people love it, and it's crazy how much people love it in the South. So we put down pine straw. We do a final bush trim before the winter. We stay pretty busy through December, and then January and February are the 2 death months for us. So
Mm.
what we've done is I've done my expansion, my physical expansion. We've worked on my guys in January, and then February we take for training, for logistics, for hiring new guys, for getting new customers, for going to make sales at businesses. So I train my guys how to do that too. If we don't have a ton of
Okay.
work to do in February, except we start putting out some pre-emergent and stuff like that. But they're gonna still work. I'm not gonna cut my guys' hours when they busted their butt for 9 months or 10 months in the lawn season, and now all of a sudden penalize them because we're a little slow when we have other stuff in the business that you can do. So yeah, we January, February we don't do a ton. don't know how many jobs. We probably did 15 types of cleanups and stuff in January, which gets us by. That's not bad, but that's all there really is to do. February.
Okay.
Get ready for growing season. We call it growing season. I don't know what you guys call it, but call it growing season.
Growing season. Yeah, so it's the same here. That pine straw is just foreign to me. I see it. I don't necessarily understand it. I don't know what the appeal is about it. I bought I was looking for a bagger kit for my Exmark walk behind, and I couldn't find one locally other than ordering a brand new one, and I didn't want to order a brand new one because it was outrageously expensive for a used mower. So I went and ended up seeing one on eBay in Florida. So I bought it off that guy, and he shipped it here. And when I got it, I opened it up, and it had remnants of pine straw all in it, right? And I was like, oh, this must be with that pine straw stuff.
We put out, like, we have customers that, I have a customer who has 300 bales takes for his property. And, you're talking about that's a lot of money, just in material. That's like $4 a bale here is the standard price.
Okay.
We obviously have negotiated a little bit better price for how much quantity we get, but what is that? $1,200 in just material. And he does it twice a year.
Wow.
So he spends $2,400 just in pine straw material. But people love it right before the holidays. It looks natural areas and stuff. So we do a ton of that in the off season. A lot of property cleanups, manual labor type stuff. We charge by the hour for that. So
interesting. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I always have the opposite with customers that have like large established pine trees with all the needles and stuff on the ground, and the really long ones, and they're always like they want to get rid of it. Like, can you blow it out and get rid of it and all that sort of stuff, clean it up. We just want the dirt. So this next question is one that I've been asking relatively. I haven't asked everybody on the podcast about it. Just recently, I started, and that's a question that one of my guests turned around. They wanted to ask me, so I thought that was a great question. I'm going to start asking people that, and that is, what's the weirdest thing you've seen or has happened to you during your business? If you have any sort of standout things that have happened.
Nothing crazy has happened in terms of like us witnessing anything weird. I guess one of my employees got a nail stuck in their leg a couple months ago from edging. So he was using an edger. Yeah, he was using an edger in one of our construction home site builds, and I guess they dropped some nails off. And he comes up to me and says, like very calmly, he's like, "Hey, boss, I got a little problem." And he like points down like out of a movie, and I'm like, "Dude, you have a nail in your leg. Like, this is a big." So that was an interesting thing. Nothing crazy except like the first day I got the 52-inch Gravely, I put it in the lake. So that was pretty cool.
Oh.
I was brand new, like $500,000 home on the lake, and I was like, oh yeah, this mower can probably handle this slope. And 15 feet slide, tears up his side. Mowers in the water completely, and luckily the engine didn't get wet. But that's the craziest thing that's happened so far. But
that's
crazy yet. Like, we haven't had anything stolen or nothing crazy like that.
That's great. Well, we're brothers in that respect then too, because I did the same thing with that walker. I didn't put it in the lake, but my very first job with it, I took it to a brand new customer, first mow. They had tall, overgrown backyard, and I started mowing it, and everything was going good. And I was going along the cedar fence line, and what I didn't know was half the lawn was leveled and the other wasn't, and it was a drop off. Like, it went level and then just went boom, dropped off towards the fence, and I couldn't see that because the grass was so tall. And I started mowing, and like I said, it was right along the fence line, and then the mower dropped. And because it was against the fence and sloped towards the fence, that big hopper box on the walker kind of got wedged against the fence. And so I was like, trying to, use the zero turn controls. I'm panicking. And the next thing you know, I'm spinning on a dime and the whole back of the walker takes out the whole fence. And the yard that it was bordering was like a 10-foot drop below. So now the walker's like teetering on this thing, and there's like one fence post holding my brand new walker on its first job from falling. And there's this really angry dog in the next yard below that is not too happy that I just took out his fence, and he's just going crazy. So I was like, oh man, well, how am I going to get this out of here? I'm like, right. So I phoned the dealer and I'm like, hey, remember an hour ago when I picked up the mower and you said if there's anything I ever need to give you a call? He's like, well, that was quick. And credit to them, they came out and they were on the side of the other yard with the dog, only a few feet below them. And they're like pushing the mower up while guys are on top pulling the mower. And we got it cleared up. But yeah, that's crazy.
I had to go get a 100-foot chain in the truck and pull it out. It was miserable, but yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah, especially when it's like a brand new mower, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's the worst. So I feel you there. I've been there. And it's funny, I see it over and over again from other people too that just get a brand new mower and stuff, and they're not quite used to it, or something happens and it's like, I've been there. I know it. Don't feel too bad. You're not the first. You won't be the last. So this next question is also probably one of my favorite ones. So I want to ask you to share your best piece of advice with someone just starting out in the business. And I want you to come from the point of view that this is somebody that you like and somebody that you only want the best for. So you genuinely want to see this person succeed. So what would you tell them if they came up to you and said, hey, Alex, I want to start a lawn care business. What can you tell me? What should I do?
I tell them, don't overbuy, don't undersell, and don't be out hustled.
Okay.
Don't overbuy the equipment that you need to start. You don't need as much as people tell you do.
Yeah.
Because your initial customer list is going to be easy yards, people who don't just want their grass cut. You just need the basic stuff. Don't underprice yourself. Don't undersell. Don't think you're worth $20 when the gas that day was $20.
Yeah.
The third one being out hustled. Like, if you're trying to grow your business, don't just wait for people to call. Like, they're not just going to call.
Yeah.
We're in a business where we're like the plumbing business. We're in the service industry. And so a lot of people simply don't understand that in our industry of service and skill work and stuff. So you have to go out to them and explain to them, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
If you can't afford door hangers, go print out stuff at your local library.
Yeah.
If you can only get business cards off Vistaprint and put them on mailboxes, great. But do something. Do something. Don't just wait and, I'm going to just be okay with 10 people this year, and I guess that's how it is. Like, there's people out there who want your service. So don't overbuy, don't undersell, and don't be out hustled. I would say it's the three things.
Yeah, that's great advice. I always reminds me of a video that Keith Kalfas put out years ago talking about the window cleaning side of it, and how when he started, he had no money, he was desperate, and he just went door to door and ended up selling 42 accounts in 24 hours. So went from no customers to 42 customers for like bi-weekly or weekly window cleaning, just by going door to door through these business complexes and mini malls and things like that, and picking up these clients, because he was just putting himself out there. If he had sat there waiting for the phone to ring, that wouldn't have happened, right? But that was a huge jumpstart and kickstart to his window cleaning career, because he went out there and went for it and found the customers And it goes back to what we started the podcast with, and that was with asking, the power of ask, right? Go out there and ask. So last question, and that is simply, if people want to follow you or connect with you on social media, how can they do that? You talked about, I know you have an Instagram account, and you mentioned as well a YouTube channel, which I talked about that video. You talked about the 50,000 door hangers on. You said you're much like my last guest, Cody. Getting that new GoPro. So it sounds like you'll be putting some more effort into or putting more content out on that YouTube channel. So maybe tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, all Trifecta Lawn Care. And it's really that simple. We're not on Twitter right now, but those are the three main, platforms we're using. And we hope to do more stuff like this. We really like talking to you, and just love the podcast. I love podcasts. So podcast industry, love that. So look for us there. But those three arenas is where we're at right now. And we have a website, trusttrifecta.com.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for coming on to the podcast. I really appreciate you, first of all, reaching out and volunteering, because that makes it easier for me too. I don't have to sit there finding people, and also for, coming on and working with me through. We had some scheduling things, tried to get you on last week and things like that, and you just hung out there and made yourself available. So that's really awesome, really well appreciated.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I really liked it. Appreciate that.
Awesome.